There's an art exhibit that's making a big impression. Landscapes from the Age of Impressionism is currently on view at the Akron Art Museum, and Ellen Rudolph is here to paint a picture for us of the art treasures we'll find. Ellen is a curator of exhibitions for the museum. Glad to have you.
Thank you.
So, Impressionism. A lot of people think that's uniquely French, but is that really true?
No, in fact, and the American Impressionist movement took hold. American artists were very much influenced by the French, and American Impressionism has actually lasted much longer than the French Impressionist movement.
Did it start in France, though?
It did start in France. American artists who were studying in Paris in the late 19th century were very much influenced by French artists' practice of painting out of doors from nature.
Okay, and then they just brought it home. Is that right?
They did. They once many of the American artists returned to the United States, they, in fact, they were very inspired by a particular exhibition, a very important exhibition of French Impressionist artists that took place in New York in 1886. The Americans adapted the Impressionist style to the American landscape and set up artist colonies and schools along the New England coast, and they passed the style along to the next generation of American painters.
Okay, well, what characterizes Impressionism?
Above all, Impressionist artists placed a premium on direct observation in nature. They painted with quick, visible brushstrokes of unmixed colors, and their aim was to capture the fleeting effects of weather, light, and atmosphere.
Okay, so their impression of what's going on.
Exactly.
All right. So there was this industrial revolution in the world. How did that affect the Impressionists?
It affected them in many ways. I mean, the Impressionists were aimed to be painters of modern life, so they wanted to incorporate technological advances into their painting style and techniques. The biggest advancement that allowed the Impressionists to paint outside was the advent of tube paint. So artists were able to take their paints, tube paint, preserve the paint for longer periods of time so it wouldn't dry out, and artists were able to take their paint outside and paint in the landscape.
Okay, well, how did they keep their paint prior to the tube? That's all I've ever known.
There are various ways of storing it, but they were mostly organic kinds of containers that would allow the paint to dry out.
Okay, well, we got some examples, I understand, so I'm anxious to see these. So here's the first one. Tell us about that.
This is a painting by Claude Monet, a painting that a subject that he painted a number of. He would often paint series of paintings in which he would focus on, in this case, he's painting a cathedral in Vernon, which was a few miles down the Seine River from his home in Giverny. And he painted this subject in many different lights and weather conditions. And he did this with other subjects as a way of demonstrating the enormous transformative power of light.
Okay. Do we have another? Oh, yeah, here we go.
This is a painting by John Singer Sargent. He's an American Impressionist, one of the most important Americans. And he was born in Italy to expat parents and spent many summers in the Val d'Este region of northwestern Italy in the Alps. And here he's painting his friends laying in the grass and playing chess. And he's illustrating the new leisure class that grew out of industrialization.
Okay, we have one more here.
This is a painting called The Climb by Camille Pissarro, who is considered the father of Impressionism. He supported many of the Impressionist painters like Claude Monet and Renoir even. This is a very modern composition. You have a path leading up and out of the painting, and then he's really compressed the space of the valley below.
Fantastic paintings. I bet it's a fantastic exhibit as well.
It is.
So there's only 2 more weeks, though, to experience landscapes from the Age of Impressionism at the Akron Art Museum. The exhibit ends on February 5th. So don't wait. Pencil this in on your calendar right now. My thanks to Ellen Rudolph for creating a beautiful impression for us.
For more information, call the Akron Art Museum at 330-376-9185 or click to www.akronartmuseum.org. Next, don't go through probate unnecessarily.